everybody. This is Central Florida Real Estate Radio, and I'm your host, Laura Peterson. I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you could call or text 407-566-2555. So I'm kind of doing this from a different studio. Today I'm doing it from my house, so I'm kind of hoping that everything turns out great on my podcast. But in case it doesn't, I apologize for that, and I'll make it better next week. But basically, I wanted to start with the stats like I always do. And sales of single family homes went to 250 last week from 355 the week before. So you might think, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Got to remember, what was last week? It was Thanksgiving. So there were actually 2 days that were not used during the week last week. So as a result of that, it's really not a big surprise that that's what happened. The median price of the single family homes increased to $435,000. And it was about 420 the week before. So when you're looking at that 250 homes and how it shakes down, there were 26 of them under 250, 12 of them between 250 and 300, 61 between 300 and 400, 50 between 400 and 500, 85 between 500 and a million, and 16 over a million. So wow, you go 250 to 300, there were only 12. You go, was that right? And yes, it actually was. And when you're looking at the months of inventory, we're overall at 7, which is not a surprise because, again, it was last week looking at Thanksgiving week, which 3 weeks less or 2 days less. So 2/5 that were not did not happen last week. So that's really kind of a big deal. When you're looking at the sales to asking price, it's at 97.28 overall. Under 250 was at 93.39. Over a million was at 97.09. So it was kind of right there. And then everything else is right there at 97.98. All the other price points and everything. The days on the market is basically at about 70 days on the market for a single family home to go under contract. So next we're going to be looking at the condos, townhomes, and villas. Now where they're at is that there were 70 and it was 102 the week before. So again, 3 out of 5 days is all we had. So that's where we're at. And the price remained constant at 263,000. So basically the inventory decreased by 91 and the single family homes decreased by 152. I didn't tell you that originally. So looking at how it shakes down for those condos, townhomes, and villas is that of the 70, 26 were under 250, 17 between 250 and 300, 16 between 300 and 400, 7, 400 to 500, 3, 500 to a million, and one of them over a million. The months of inventory on the condos and townhomes is shown at 12.49 overall. And then when you get above 250, well, even under 250, we're at 12.6 months. 250 to 300, it's showing 7.85. Then it's at 14.42, 15.13, 23 months of inventory, 500 to a million. A really short week, so it's kind of hard to see really what's going on there and everything. But basically, the bottom line is that if you've got a condo, in my opinion, you really have to price it aggressively because you're dealing with about 8 months worth of inventory, and that's not just last week, that's overall. And so as a result of that, you really have to be concerned in regards to making sure that your property stands out. And in my opinion, the best way for it to stand out is to have the right marketing, which is something that we do. And then the second thing that you need to do to have it stand out is that you really need to have it priced appropriately. And so we have our pricing strategy that we go into when we sit down and we meet with you to make sure that you've got exactly what you need to do to make it happen and everything, because the statistics show that the quicker that you sell it when you get it on the market, the better price that you're going to get. And that's not just us talking, that's the statistics of showing really what's going on, what's happening, all of that kind of good stuff. So my goal when I'm meeting with the seller is that I want to make sure that we're pricing it so that we're going to get the most bang out of the buck, that we're going to get it sold fast if that's what you want to do. And there's a lot of reasons, for that and things that come into play when you're doing that, because you want to make sure that you actually are putting your best foot forward. I think that all of the sites out there don't do us justice when it comes to pricing properties and how long they're sitting on the market, because it's the only market that really tells you how long the house has been there and available for sale. Now, does it really make a difference how long it's been for sale? Because take, for example, I was a buyer and I wasn't in the market, but today I am. Does it really matter if that house was on the market 2 or 3 months ago or if it came on yesterday? Basically, the bottom line is I started looking today. So I'm looking at the inventory that's there today. And I think that that's the best thing for people to be looking at. The best thing for people to compare it to is what's there today. And basically what happens, however, though, is that people are looking at it and they're thinking, okay, it's been sitting there for a month. What's wrong with it? It's been sitting there for 2 months. What's wrong with it? What if it was just there sitting there waiting for you to actually purchase the property? What's wrong with that? I mean, basically, that's another way that you could look at it, right? So when there's a car that's sitting out there, does it say that it's been on the market for X amount of days? No, not really. Does it really matter? No, because the bottom line is that it didn't fit what somebody else wanted, but maybe it's perfect for you. And that's really what's important when it comes to purchasing a home, in my opinion, or a car, any big ticket item. When you go into a store and you see something that's sitting there on the shelf, does it matter if it's been sitting on the shelf for 30 days or if it just got here yesterday? No, it's what you're looking for. So the days on market, although it's a measuring tool that a lot of people use, to me, it is not a thing that is good for a seller, because maybe it's good for a buyer, but I don't even think it's good in that standpoint. If you're a buyer and you want to make a deal on a house, you're going to offer that right away and see what's happening. There's a property that, there's when I put a new property on the market, which I've got a couple of them that we did this week. And basically, when we put a new property on the market, what happens is that I immediately get offers from cash buyers that are telling me, hey, I would love to make an offer on this property right now, and this is the price that I'm willing to pay for it. So does it matter that that if my seller wants to sell that badly and take that offer, they can, and it doesn't matter that it's been on the market for 12 hours or if it's been on the market for 12 months. Basically, the bottom line is that they're going to make that same offer. And so when it comes down to it, there's just not a meeting of the minds before that point in time. And there's some people that want to, like, I've got somebody that they're retiring and they're going to be traveling, and so they want to sell their house by the time that they retire. Well, they decided that they wanted to sell it and put it on the market 6 months before they're retiring. They're not really motivated 6 months before, but the closer it gets to their retirement, they are more motivated. But does that mean that they're going to reduce the price significantly? Maybe and maybe not. So basically, when it comes down to it, my opinion is don't look at the days on the market. I know we all do, but when you're a buyer, don't look at it. When you're a seller, you have to pay attention to it. But if you do the things that you need to do right at the beginning, you're not going to have to worry about it later on. So in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we will see you after the break. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Laura Peterson, your host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio. I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So I wanted to talk to you today about planning your dream home in 2025, what to look for in a property. And this could be in 2025, this could be in 2026, it could be whenever. But basically, when you're looking for a property, these are the things that I think are important that you need to pay attention to. And the first one is location, location, location. And basically, you've always heard that when it comes to real estate, that's something that you should pay attention to. And you might be thinking, is it really important? And basically, it is important. Some people, it's very important to you. When it comes down to, is it something that you want to be close to family? Is it that you want to be close to your work? Is it that you want a specific school district, that you want to be close to your church? What is it that you want to be close to? Some people want to be close to the beach. Some people want to be close to a lake. Some people want to be close to restaurants. I was talking to a guy the other day, and that's what he said. Absolutely. He said, I want to be close to restaurants that I don't have to go too far, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm going to be where I've got a big choice in regards to where I can go and what I want to do. And it's not necessarily that they're going to go out every day and go do that stuff, but that's exactly what they want. So determining the location and how far it is for you to travel on a daily basis, if you have to go to work or take someone to school or something like that. So you want to make sure that you do that. That's the first thing that you look at. And you want to make sure that it's right for you. And there are a lot of people that are going, I talked last week in regards to going to the exurbs, which are the places beyond the suburbs is really what it is. And that's a lot of times where you're going to find something that might be more affordable or something for you. But basically, when it comes down to it, you want to make sure that you're determining that location if that's important to you. Number 2 on our list is the type of home that you want. Is it something that you want to have shared living, like a condo that's going to be a little bit cheaper, or a villa, which might be a duplex, is kind of a lot of times what villas are, but villas can also be smaller homes, as well as a townhouse. What kind of home is important to you to have when it comes down to it? Or is it just plain and simply the single family home that you want to have? And so everybody's dreams and desires are different. A lot of people think, hey, I want that single family home. And then everybody goes, well, I don't want to deal with the grass. Well, there are some subdivisions that actually have the grass cut for you. And so having that single family home with that ability to get the grass cut for you might be a perfect situation for you. So you never know until you actually look at it, figure it out, feel what you want. The next thing that might come into play is the size and layout. How big of a home do you want? How many common areas do you want? Do you want that formal dining area? Do you want everything to be open together? Do you want to have some things closed off? I mean, people are coming from both places. I had one lady say, hey, I've got teenagers and I want to have my own space where I can just go and read and they can be there and doing the TV or their games or whatever it is, and I don't have to, be a part of all of it. Maybe you want a piano room. Maybe you want something like that that's going to be there. Maybe you want a second, kind of family room on maybe a second floor so that you can have that for the, teenagers or for other family members or something like that. So what kind of home are you looking for? Do you want 1-story or 2-story? And one of the things that happened at one point when I was showing houses to these people, they said, we definitely want a 1-story home. We do not want steps. We definitely don't want it any way, shape, or form. So they went to an open house and they bought a house with 2 stories. And I was thinking, why did you buy a 2-story home? And were you just telling me a little fib there, or what was going on? But what I realized and what I found out is that they weren't not telling the truth, that when they first started looking, they thought they wanted a 1-story home. But what they really wanted is they wanted to have a home that worked for their family. The home that they bought had a downstairs master or primary bedroom. And as a result of that, it had everything that they needed on the first floor. Then they had that second floor, which was extra room that they used for their family. So they didn't have family that was living with them at the moment, but they had their grandchildren and their kids and everything that were coming to visit. And so it was a win-win situation for them to have that second story. So the most important thing to me when I'm working with a buyer is to sit down with you and go through and find out what those wants and needs are. When I do that, when we find out what they are in advance, before we start looking at houses, we really hone in on what you're looking for. And I can kind of discern, what you're looking for. So I might show you a two-story home, even though you said you only wanted the one story, just for comparison purposes to make sure to rule it out. Because again, it's not like those people were lying that they didn't know what they wanted. Basically, in their mind, they thought that they did, but then when they saw this house, the location of it and everything else about it, they decided that they wanted to have that two-story as opposed to one story. So basically, when it comes down to it, I think that that's something that is really important for people to understand, to realize, to look at, and to make it happen. And the next thing on our list that you need to determine are the features and amenities. Basically, in Central Florida, you have the gamut. You have everything that you want depending on what the neighborhoods are, even in new construction. In new construction today, I believe that there are somewhere around 240 to 400. I don't know exactly, but I bet it's closer to 400 new home communities currently being built. So it's kind of naive, I think, for most people to think that, hey, I am going to just go out there on my own and find that house, because basically what happens is you go into one of those new home communities and those agents, for the most part, can only sell that one community. So as a result of that, they're going to try to push you into that community. There might be one that's within a mile that's got the exact same floor plan, the exact same everything that you want, but it might have lower amenities than this community does or more amenities, depending on what you're really looking for. But you can't really compare apples to apples until you know all of those things in regards to what you're looking for. So are you looking for a place that has a community pool? Are you looking for a place where the HOA cuts your grass? Are you looking for a place that includes internet or cable or something like that? Are you looking for a guard-gated community? Are you looking for none of that stuff? No HOA, none of those things. So basically, an HOA obviously is a homeowners association. And I think most people know that, but everybody doesn't. So I just want to make sure that I'm not speaking out of turn here in regards to what you want. But features and amenities are really important when it comes down to it for people. And you might go in one community and it's got all these amenities and you're like, well, I really don't need all of those. And it might make it, with their homeowners association fee, that it might not be affordable for you as well. But there might be, like I said, a place right around the corner that's within, a half a mile or whatever of that particular property that has everything that you need, that doesn't have all those amenities that you're not going to use anyway, and might be something that's more affordable to you. So it's really important to work with somebody like myself in order to find that perfect property that's out there for you. And that's absolutely, what we do day in and day out to do that. When you become past the features and amenities, the next thing that you might want to look at is future growth and resale value. One of the biggest things that I think happens is that basically when it comes to future growth and resale value, is that what happens is that if you buy a new home in a new home community, then you're looking at, depending on how developed that community is, they might be building there for the next 4 or 5 years. If they are, then and you decide that you're going to sell within those 4 or 5 years, you're going to be competing with that builder, and they're always going to have new and all of that kind of stuff. So if somebody could pick up what you're going from you, or they could pick up from the builder getting something completely new, then, what are they going to choose? I mean, we don't know, but do you really want to be competing against the builder? So that's just something to consider when you're looking at it. And when it comes to resale value, looking at what's going on and everything out there. Now, I've said a lot about new, but this comes down to if it's something that's in existence, that's a resale home and everything as well. You can look at the community and see what it's done over time. Most of Central Florida is pretty consistent. And actually, there is a new home community that sent me some information this week that they are actually on their last 15 homes in the community. Oh my goodness. So, sorry about that. But they're on their last 15 homes in the community that are being sold right now. All but one of them is available this year. So, guess what? They've got some great deals on that property, on those properties, because they want to close out that community. So it's a great opportunity for you if that's something, that you're looking for. If you want a new home, it's actually in Haines City is where this one is. So it might not be the area that you want, but there's builder closeouts throughout the whole area. This one, they've sent me like 4 or 5 notices. Hey, we've only got 15 homes left and 14 of them are going to be available by the end of this month in 2024. So basically, there's a lot of opportunity and everything out there. You just need to know what you're looking for, and I'm more than happy to help you hone in on that, figure out what's most important, and then make it happen, because that's what we do day in and day out. Okay, so in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Laura Peterson, your host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio. I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So basically, I wanted to talk about your credit score. I found this article that was out on there, and it says, why now is a perfect time to improve your credit score. We're coming to the end of the year, and I think that this is something that you can do on a consistent basis. Most of us all have Credit Karma on our phone, and most people I talk to do anyway, and I do myself. But basically, when I'm looking at it, that's not necessarily going to be what your credit score is going to be when you go to apply for a mortgage or go to buy a house, but it's going to give you a good indication in regards to where you're at. It's going to be probably within 5 or 10 points or something. It's not going to be off 100, but it could be off 5 or 10 points. And I was talking to a lender this week, and basically what that lender was telling me is, because I do have our go-to lenders that we talk to all the time. But I said, okay, what's your claim to fame that you have? What do you have out there that's good? And actually, there were 2 lenders that I talked to this week. One of them actually was telling me about the doctor programs that they have, that if you are a doctor and you have been in business or out of school less than 10 years, they can actually do 100% financing up to $1 million. So it's a portfolio loan, meaning that the bank keeps it, they service it, all of those kinds of things. So they've decided to specialize in doctors, and they have some up to $2 million and stuff that you put a minimal amount down. I think it was less than 10%. So they've got some really good deals. So if you're a doctor out there and that's what you're looking for, then we definitely have those products available to you. And if you've been in business or out of school more than 10 years, they also have great deals for you, but it's not 100% financing. But they have specialized in that. And then they said because they portfolio all of their loans, they also have to do some products that are on the lower end side as well, to counteract that and that kind of stuff. So basically what they have is they have products that are 100% financing in pockets throughout Orange, Osceola, Seminole, Lake, any county that we have out there. And on some of them, depending on where they're at, there are no income limits on those properties. So you can go ahead and pick up a property at 100% financing. So that's pretty awesome. It is based on the census tract, and they sent me the link to it. So basically, what I can do is I can go in there and I can look at any zip code and find out, what it is or what we can do in order to, what houses qualify for that. And the ones that are, and then there's another part of a zip code that they're not 100% financing, but they're 97% financing. Your credit score has to be 660 is basically what it is. And so that's something that I think is a really affordable product, for people. Then I was talking to another lender and I said, okay, what's your claim to fame? What do you have that's different than everybody else? And one of the things that they have is that they have buy now, sell later. So basically, what that means is that you could go ahead and you could buy a new home for cash, potentially close it by the end of the year in 2024, but probably 2025. And then on top of that, what you can do is that you can, once you are in your new home, you can actually sell your old home and you have 6 months to get it sold. And if it doesn't sell in that 6 months, then they've already pre-negotiated the price that they're going to come in and buy it from you for. Okay, so what they want to do is that they're lending you the money on your new home in advance is basically what they're doing. There's another lender that we work with that basically they have a similar type program that takes the equity out of your current home and gives that to you for the down payment, and you have kind of that same situation. So basically, there's a lot of opportunity out there if you're looking for it, that you want to purchase a new home in advance and not worry about, getting out of your old home or selling it right now or anything like that. So during the holidays, I think especially that's a great program because you could have a new home that you're ready to move into January 1st, but you could spend the holidays without the hassle of going through having to move in your old house. So that option works. But what I was talking about was the perfect time to improve your credit score. And basically, these are things that you can do to improve your credit score at any point in time. And first of all, it's pay down existing debt. Now, one of the things that's really important when you're looking at your credit score or that people are looking at is that you don't want to have your balances up to the maximum. You only want to have like 25% of your credit card that you're utilizing is about the best. And so if you can pay down existing debt, then that's going to be a great thing that you can do. Now, one thing that you could do is that you could possibly talk to a credit card company that you have that you're in good standing with, and you could ask them to raise your credit limit. And then you don't want to go up with the credit limit, but you would have that margin there. And so that would be something that might be that you want to do. Review your credit report for errors. There's always situations out there that might be errors, and so you want to get those fixed. And so they have the ways to do that. So that's where Credit Karma or those kinds of services come in and make it really nice to do that. The next thing is to make timely bill payments. And everybody doesn't know this, but if you're late on a car payment or you're late on a mortgage or something like that, you're going to have a tough time getting a house loan if it was in the last year. So you definitely want to go ahead and be timely on those payments. That's one of the most important things that affects your credit score. And then you want to avoid opening new credit accounts. And then the last thing it says on here is settle outstanding collections. So it said avoid opening new credit accounts because what that's going to do is short term, it's going to lower your credit score. Long term, if you've got more credit and you're not using it, it might extend it and might be okay. But you want to avoid opening new credit accounts if at all possible. And then you want to settle any outstanding collections. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier this week, and one of the things that they were saying is that they were saying that that they got a call from a collection agency on a bill. Now they had full knee replacement about a year ago, and so insurance obviously was covering all of it. The surgery was over $100,000. So what happens with those medical bills is you keep getting them in, and you don't know if you pay them, you don't pay them, or what happened. Well, anyway, basically, after hundreds of thousands of dollars of surgery and everything, the amount that was owed on this bill was $180. And so that went into collections. So not a good scene, for this particular person and everything. And it was like, gee, if I would have known that, obviously I would have paid it off, but you don't know what to pay and what not to pay. So there are some circumstances with lenders now for mortgages that they can overlook the medical things and all of that. And that happened about a year or two ago that they started doing that. So they might still be okay with that. But that's something that you want to be aware of when it comes to it. The other thing that happens that a lot of people end up going to collections on are like cable services. You moved properties and you didn't turn in your cable box or something, and they put it into collections. So whatever that stuff is, you want to make sure that you get that resolved, and that will absolutely help you on your credit score. So keep an eye on it. Look at what you can do. Don't use all your credit, and solve the things that don't look right and make things better. So in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we will see you after the break. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Laura Peterson, your host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio, and I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. To discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So I wanted to talk about, is now a good time to buy? And you might be thinking, gosh, the holidays are going on, and so I just want to wait until the beginning of the new year, which is what a lot of people say, quite honestly, because January is one of the lowest months of closings in the Central Florida area. And that's absolutely as a result of the holidays. And this holiday season seems shorter because it is, because Thanksgiving was so late in the month of November that everybody still has all those same traditions that you're trying to get in before the holidays happen. And so you might be thinking, gosh, I don't even really want to think about it. But basically, the real estate market is quieter right now. So you have more choices. You might have some sellers that definitely want to get out now. And so with them getting out now, basically, there might be more bargains and everything out there for you. Once the new year starts, the market heats up. And so then you've got more competition as a buyer. So I think I like to go where everybody isn't. And that way I get more of what I want, obviously. And so I think this is a perfect time for people to buy a house. Well, I probably think every time, all the time during the year is a perfect time to buy. But this is definitely not an exception. I think it's a great time to purchase a home. And so basically, that's one thing to consider. You want to reflect at this time of year on your housing needs, however. Do you have what you need in your house? Do you want something smaller, bigger, whatever it might be? I was talking to a lady the other day, and she was telling me that she moved to Boston, and she's really not happy there, and now she's going to get out of there by January 1st. And so she's looking for where she's going to go once she gets down here, because she's coming back. And, I think everybody kind of wants to take this time during this busy season and really reevaluate before the beginning of the year. Where do you want to be a year from now? What's going on with your housing needs? What's happening with it? What's going to be the best thing for you and your family? And you can research and plan ahead. And so you could look right now. Maybe you're going to find that house. Maybe you're going to still wait till January. But maybe you're going to also know that that's where you want to be or what you want to do. And you might find that perfect property that you're like, I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to put it up to chance. I'm going to make it happen now. And you have to prepare for that busy buying season. Now, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were saying that they're going to wait because they feel like the interest rates are going to go down. Well, there's a good possibility that they are, but we don't have that crystal ball. We don't know for sure. But I think that they are, but I don't know for sure. I know that when the interest rates first went down to like 4 and 5%, I had all the naysayers telling me they're not going to stay here. they're going to go up next week and all of that kind of stuff. And they stayed there for 3 or 4 years. So I don't know what they're going to do now. I think that there's optimism. I think that there's a good possibility they're going to go down. But guess what? We work with some lenders that actually will refinance it for free if you want, if the interest rates go down. So if they go down, you're not going to have a problem refinancing a few months down the road and getting that better interest rate. So wouldn't you rather already be in that house that you want to get now instead of competing with everybody at that low interest rate? When the interest rates were low, we in Central Florida had a big problem with inventory. We had less than half a month's supply. We had 15 or 16 offers on a home when it went on the market in one day. We had that many offers, many of them cash, no seller concessions. It was really, really brutal for buyers. So the thing that I would think about if I was a buyer is that, do I really want to possibly get into that nightmare again where you couldn't find a house? And 80% of the buyers, when they surveyed them later, said that they wish that they wouldn't have bought the house that they did, but they felt like they had to because they had no other choices. So I think that when it comes down to it, if it were me, I would absolutely want to be doing what I could be doing now to get the house that I want. And then if I refinance and it's going to save me $400 or $500 in my payment and I can refinance and do that, that would be great. I would be totally happy with that. But if you go into it at this point with a payment that you can afford, that you feel is something that you want, then that's going to be a great situation for you as well. So I just think it makes sense to actually look at the situation to see what makes sense for you and your family. But why not now? Why not put a bow around a house and have it for Christmas? You can do it. And if you don't want to do it and wait for January, we'll be here for you then too. But just wanted to let you know that it was a possibility. Okay? So next, I'm going to talk about the house of the week right now. And it actually is that new construction that I was talking a little earlier about. They are in Haines City. There's a community that's being closed out. So the good news about that is that the builder has huge incentives for buyers to get that closed. There's 14 of the 15 of them that are going to be available in 2024, and the other one's going to be available in January. So if you want to get a new construction home, get it with the builder closeout. You're not going to if you do decide that that's not the neighborhood for you in a couple of years, guess what? The builder's not going to be there competing with you anymore, and you're going to be able to take advantage of that. And anybody that wants to be in that community, that's what they're going to have to do, is they're going to have to buy a resale. So I think that stuff is all great when it comes down to it. Like I said, huge incentives that are going on right now for those houses. They make them really nice when they do these. So they were all builder specs, obviously. So there's nothing to choose from them. But everything's going to be fresh and new. And they were all built by designers with the things that are most popular that people choose. And so with 15 of them, I'm sure that there's going to be one or two of them that are going to have exactly what you want. The interesting thing about where this community is in Haines City that I think is absolutely fabulous is that you don't have to go down 27 to get to it. You can go down to exit 48 on 4 and then you backtrack. So depending on what traffic is, you've got options when it comes to this community. And I was very happy. I've sold a few houses in there, and so I was very happy to find that direction that I could go, and gave me a lot of options and everything for it. So if you do have an interest in it, just reach out and we're more than happy to help you, find out about it. But in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we will see you next week. Have a great one, everybody. Bye-bye.